Good day and welcome back to my channel. So this is the next update on the Time Roadster fun build. Like I said, this is for a group build called the Wheelie Fun build. Basically, anything that's got wheels on it, where the wheels touch the road. So tanks not so much because they got the tricks. Anyway, again, the whole thing, for me, modeling is fun. And this is just sort of a concept thing that was kicking around in my head. What if the time machine was built on a Model A Roadster that was steam powered rather than whatever? So this is where I am so far. And I decided to take it to a rusted, used, worn kind of look. And this is where we're going with it. I need to get the wheels weathered and then start getting in on the details of the weathering. I've got the base. Obviously the base is done. This back part, I wasn't quite liking where it was going, but I like, putting that little protective fence on there. Now I have a place to lay in dust and make that look a little more in sync with where I'm going with this. I still need to detail all the pieces and parts in there. So I'm sitting here and I'm looking at this thing, and I'm getting into where I'm starting to work on the detail parts. Actually, one of the other things I did want to do is I did manage to wire this up. I still have to cover up all the wires and everything. So there's the power, so you can see the glow from the steam engine, the major time projector, whatever you want to call it. I'll come up with something. So that's all done, and again, that's hidden by this switch back here. And then I do still have the flux capacitor right there. So, yay. All right, so we have those. With this, so I was sitting here looking at it, and I'm not feeling it. There's something, and I'm sitting there and sitting there and sitting there and sitting there trying to figure out what. And it comes to me that it's not giving me what's in my head. And I think the reason that's the case is because I don't like, this is sort of a story. And to set a story, you need a scene. And I think that's really it. I put this out there. If I just stick this out on a shelf, you're going to look and go, what the heck is that, right? And I don't want to have to explain what the heck is that. I'd like people to look at it and go, oh, and sort of see it in the same context that I see it in my head. So, you look at this and things, it looks like a car, but what's that thing on the front and all this? So what is all that? So, dioramas build a scene. Well, I don't want to build a whole dio about the thing, or I couldn't make my head come up with one. So what I've decided to do, and I think that, and now that I started thinking about this piece, it sort of helped me, and I'm starting to feel it again. So I'm going to pan back a bit, and I'm going to reach over here. Now I've decided what I want to do is I want to build up a steampunk lab, a steampunk laboratory. So I can use this box. I've got a couple more of these boxes, and I think this would be nice because this will go along with the same kind of thing that the Nautilus, there we go, the Nautilus model that I did. And I'll put the link down here if I remember. But the Nautilus model has a nice, Victorian-esque display. And I think what I'll do with this is build a steampunk lab. And as I started to think about that, I started to get excited, and I think that was it. It was the stories missing. So, the next question is, well, yeah, what? What are we going to do? And so I went digging, and I have in my stash box, where's it? These. Games Workshop puts out some terrain stuff, and I happen to have these here. And I also have another set from one of their main, one of the other kits, where you've got a bunch of pieces and parts that look kind of like this. Sorry for that, for the technical difficulties. So, again, the other thing they have are a bunch of these things, and I forget, it's actually what I took that part from. So as I started playing around with this, then I started getting excited again, and that sort of came to mind. I'm going to try and shift this, and hopefully I can do this in a way that doesn't make everybody sick or dizzy. So lower that there, and we'll bring this up a bit. There we go. So what I'm thinking is something like this, and we have, where are these guys? So we've got a bunch of, I'm just now starting to put these things together, but I've got a bunch of things like this where, they sort of go together. Yeah, you get the idea. Start putting some of these things together, and build a steampunk lab that's built around this thing. And that would give a lot more of the story that goes with what I'm looking at. Drop this guy here, that goes there. We also have a thing where conduits can come up out of the top and go across here, over to here, and then put like a Victorian-esque chair, or maybe even just a Victorian fireplace right here. But something that builds up a lab, or a workshop. This is nice because this part's hollow, so I can light it. I can put the same flickering lights that are in there into this, and I can power all this up and give it that feel. And that gives me, yeah, so that gives me a whole lot of, it gives me a better feel for the scene, and I think that makes it feel better. And that's, by doing that's kind of got me excited a little more about the thing. This still needs a whole lot of work. I still need to dirty up the tires and weather, and some of the stuff, it just doesn't quite sit right. But I do want this angle. I want it sitting at this angle so that we can have the look down into, sorry guys. So we can have the look down into it where you can see the extra gadgets and so forth. So this is sort of the show side of it. And I'm thinking maybe something reflective over here so you can see, the backside. So, this side here is also pretty interesting. But if I have this displayed such a way that you're only looking here, then you miss that. So if I have, say, something reflective, a mirror or a standing mirror or something that just, so you can see back this way, and I have to figure out how. But that's the cool thing, is now I can sit here and play with the concepts of, oh, that looks cool, or oh, maybe this. So there's a lot more of this to do. But this is, I did want to sort of give a bit of an update on where I am, and so I can take this off so it doesn't. I can kind of give a slide around on this. I'm working on the headlights. One of the issues I have with the headlights is the lenses for them, or at least ones I'm going to use, are flat. And the LEDs stuck out just a little bit. So I had to build them up. So that green stuff is actually still curing, so it's still soft. Once that's done, then I'm going to trim it down, clean it up a bit with putty, and then I can put the lenses on. And I do want to kind of give it a fade. I could do what I did here, which gives it something of a faded look, and I still may end up going that direction. But I'm working on doing heavy but subtle-ish weathering. I want the weathering to be heavy, but I want it to sort of show and look right. So that's where we're going with this. And something's wrong back here. I don't know what. I haven't figured it out. There's just something here, like either down in here needs more weathering, or maybe I need to put a grate or something. Something just doesn't look right. And obviously there's more painting to be done in here, detailing up in there. So there's more to do, but this is the current update on the Time Roadster. And again, this is a fun build. This is obviously, there's no This isn't duplicating something. This is just making something fun and playing with techniques. And that's the cool thing about this is I'm getting to play with scratch building. I'm getting to play with kit bashing. I'm getting to play with electronics. I'm getting to play with wiring. I'm getting to play with you know, sort of design. And that's the fun part of this. And I hope, you know, if you don't have to build a model, you know, you don't have to go out and buy a KV2 and make the thing, you know, exactly accurate and perfect to, you know, that picture from this KV2 from 1941 in this battlefield. If that's your thing, hey, cool, that's great, right? You know, that's, you know, the same techniques do the same thing, trying to get those specific details. But, you know, skills, practicing the skills used to do that are the same skills used to do this. And this kind of thing is a little more forgiving because it doesn't have to, the pieces don't have to end up in exactly the right spot, or your measuring doesn't have to be exactly precise, but you can practice working those techniques. So like all this fading here. So this right here is a canvas. You know, I'm playing with the rust fade and the chipping, which we did here, and this, and they still have all the streaking and the filtering that needs to be done. You know, the wheels are a canvas where I'm going to have to practice up the weathering, which I started to do on this back one. You can see I started to dust it up a bit. And we're going to, you know, the green stuff you can still see right there where, you know, it's holding the bloody wheel on, which was necessary in this kit, by the way. So that's, obviously those are going to be mud. You know, you just cover it with mud. So these are the things. This is something that is, you know, I'm hoping is an example or inspires folks to just go play, have fun. And this is where I am so far. And, you know, I will be back later on with the next installment. In the meantime, I hope you're enjoying modeling. Happy modeling, and I will talk to you again next time. Center it up. All right. Thank you, everybody.